Alright guys, so let's get our hands dirty. So you want to open up Blender. I have here Blender version 3.5 point something, and it's just I clicked out, but sorry, you want to go here, file, new, and we're using a general file, so it'll bring you back to this one. Alright, so at the beginning you're going to see your 3D scene. You got your camera over here, your viewport. So we're going to use this cube actually. If you want to, you can delete the cube, add a new one, but I'm just going to start with this default one. And so if I come here into the x-axis, flip it around, okay, and here's y, x. Okay, so you want to bring it up so that it's sitting just around the ground over there. And the way I like to do it is just with a G, right? And I can grab it and then C or Z to lock it to the Z axis, and then you can see it's moving this way. And then I'll just press a unit of 1 because this is 2 units, so half of it is 1. It brings it right to the floor like this. Okay, so now it's sitting on the floor. I want to add the actual floor, and that's going to be a plane. So I'll do Shift A and add a mesh, and here it's going to be a plane, and after that I will do S to scale. Actually, I don't like to scale. So you could do the scale, or you could just come in here and change the dimensions. So if you scale, then okay, this is with this open, I'll do S to scale. It multiplies whatever dimension is in here, so I'll do 15, and I think I did 12 by mistake, yeah. So anyway, so you see my scale is now these large numbers. I have to apply this transform, so I have to do like Control A to apply and scale, and then you see my scale goes back to 1. Another way I could have just done it is just going into these dimensions and just punching in the number I want. I want 30 for X and 30 for Y. And also I see my scale has changed. So I'll just undo all of this and just start with just the dimensions. And I guess it's the same thing, so I'll still have to apply my scale transform to bring everything back to 1 like this. Okay, so now I've got, if I come back to the front or the back, I've got the floor and I've got the tree. So we want to start with making the tree trunk. Alright, so to do that we've got to make this trunk longer, and currently I'm in object mode and I want to go into edit mode. You can see now I have my edit mode, and it's highlighting these corners, which means now I'm just selecting the corners. I've got to do G to grab them, and I can manipulate these corners. I'll just do escape to undo that. I really just want to select this top, so I go to face mode here. I'll select the top, and I'll do grab, and I can move it, and I'll just constrain to the Z axis again, and I want the base of my trunk to be somewhere this tall. Right. And so now I'm going to try to divide this top part of my trunk into 4 branches. Right, so I'm going to achieve that by doing some loop cut, which is like slicing through the entire shape. And so I'll do Control R, and you can see I get this yellow thing. It's going to show me where the loop cut goes, and I will click down once, and I can move again to say where I want it to go. I want it to be right in the middle, so I just press escape and it'll set it right there in the middle. Alright, so a point to note is I am not using a mouse. I'm just using my laptop, and I'm using the touchpad on a Mac. And to sort of emulate the mouse, you've got to go into edit and then preferences, and under input you have to make sure you've got your emulate numpad. Well, this just helps you sort of like, I'll show you, and then you got to emulate your 3-button mouse, and this way you can, if you do shift and 2 fingers, you can pan around the scene. And if you've got your numpad emulated, when you click at the top you can change between the modes, and clicking to 0 just brings you right into where the camera would look through, so you look through the camera. So I got my first loop cut down, and now what I want to do is get a second loop cut that goes this way. So I'll do a Command and R. I'll set that down, and while it's still clicked I can sort of I'll just do escape, yeah, to set it again. So now my top face has been divided into 4 parts, right? So these will be my individual branches now, and what I want to do is I want to select the faces individually again. So go to select one of them, G and to grab, and Z to constrain it in the, actually this time I'm sorry, I don't want to do grab, I want to extrude, which is like to make to pull it out, so to say. So I'll press E, and you can see it starts to go out, and currently it's by default it's constrained to Z axis. I can press Z to undo that and to give it a little, but I'll just leave the Z on because right now I just want to do the heights. So select the top face, and then G, sorry I keep getting this confused, E, and then I'll bring it out. Select another one, E to bring it out. I'm just giving like slightly different heights here, E to bring it out. So these are my branches, and the next thing I'm going to do now is to spread them apart, sort of like to open them apart. So to do that is now I can actually grab. So I can grab this one, and you can see it moves. So I'll do, after pressing on G, I'll do a shift and Z to say you can move it on the X and Y but not the Z axis, so it maintains that height. Alright, you can see that, and I'll do that for the other faces. G, shift and Z, constrain it out again, and then for the other faces as well, G and then shift and Z, move it on the X and Y but not the Z, and then G, shift and Z again one more time. So now I've got like sort of this funky looking shape, like an open hand with 4 fingers. Okay, so now what I want to do is deform this figure so that it's not so square and it looks a bit more realistic, like a tree. So I will go now into sculpt mode. Alright, so you got your modes over here, and now I'll go into first edit mode, make sure this is the object that is selected because that's the one I want to work on, and then I go into sculpt mode now, and I will drag this out so I can see the names of my brushes over here. So they do different things, and currently I am going to work with this draw brush. So you can see when I start, currently it's not doing much, looks like, but okay, so you can see the brush has a radius. If I press F on it, I can sort of control the radius, and you'll see what it does. So if I start to draw on it, it should bring out, yeah, it's sort of making my shape a bit plump a little bit. If you look closely, it's kind of bringing it out, but you can't really see because it's maintaining the faces. It's not changing how many faces I have. And to see how many faces I have, I'll go down to this drop down and toggle statistics, and you can see the details of my shape. I have 32 faces on this object, and I've got 34 vertices, which is these corners. So I want to be able to add more faces, and to do that I will go to down topo, and I can select the detailing here. I will use this constant detail, and you can see now when I use my brush it starts to add more faces, and you can see the numbers change here. You don't want to add too many though, because depending on how powerful your computer is, it could crash your blender. So I'll shrink my brush a little bit more so that I can have a bit more fine control over how much is added. So, and then I could press shift while I do it to kind of just collapse that inwards while I press down, and because it was like protruding so much, and press shift to just detail it a little bit inwards. Alright, so now this is the part where I'm sort of doing like this trying to mimic some sort of like realistic sort of circular shape. I don't know how well I'm gonna do, but yeah, so this is what you do. You just go and make some resemblance of a tree trunk. You can make it wide and thick at the bottom to resemble some roots if you like. Right, and then mine's going to look a bit. Right, so let's see how that's going to come out. I'm just going to, I would speed this up, but my video editing skills are still a bit basic, so bear with me. Alright, so just follow along and, you know, just do this how you like. It doesn't really matter because we're going to actually cover this with the leaves, which are just circular. Okay, so now I got my stubby looking tree over here, and I could just refine it a little bit more. Okay, see that I'm collapsing them in. Alright, bring them out and then fine-tuning them a little bit. Okay, and then I can have my grab brush. So this is, I could just grab and sort of move some of these, so I can widen this radius, so I can grab on like a wider area. Right. Okay, and then so this is how it looks now. Alright, so I've got this sort of strange looking figure here, but it'll do. So now what I want to do is I want to just go back into object mode. Now it's a single object. You see the details of my object have changed. I've now got a lot more vertices and edges and faces and triangles. But now what I want to do is add 4 spheres. So I'm going to use these UV spheres when I add it, because when you add an object it goes into the origin, so it comes out down here. I need to just grab it out and bring it out to the top here, and also then I can oops, I don't know what I did there. Alright, so I'll grab it and I'll bring it and I'll set it somewhere here. Let me split that into a few actions, and then I can now scale it. I pressed S on my keyboard, or you can come here to scale and then just widen it a little bit more. I press S again, scale a little bit more, and I can, okay, I got my first sort of leaves, and I can duplicate this by right clicking and say duplicate object. I get a new one, I put it here. Another way to do it is just I click on it and just do Shift and D. That will, and then Shift and Z to constrain on the Z axis. I'll move it only in the X. So I'm just putting these leaves or these globes on my branches. Alright, and then I'll do another duplicate, Shift and D, Shift and Z to lock it on the Z axis. So I got like this sort of ice cream cone like figure, and I'll just sort of fine-tune this a little bit more to give some, looks a bit more realistic, I think. So currently it looks like a, you know, it's got all these faces here. So now that I think of it, I should have done this before I duplicated, but it's okay. I will come down here to this spanner or wrench icon, and what I want to do now is to reduce like the faces of this, give it like a low poly sort of feel. So to do that, I'll use this modifier called decimate modifier, and you can see the ratio right now is 1, so I just have to reduce it. So I'll put 0.5 and take note of this. When I press enter, you're going to see the number of faces goes down, and I will reduce it even more to 0.1. Okay, I like that. You start to see and then I'll add another one. So I'm going to use different values for my different trees. Let's try 0.05 for this one. Okay, I think I like that one even more. And then I'll use the same one for this one as well, 0.04 even. Alright, so I'm getting this, so I think that maybe this one is too high. I'll set it to 0.04 as well. Okay, this is looking okay for me. And adding these decimate modifiers, and I think I have to apply, I was meant to apply all of those, 0.04, and I should have pressed down here and been like apply. So I will just select all of them again, and then I will do Command and A. I will just say apply all transforms because I scaled them before and then I did that. So it's just good to apply them, I think, otherwise you're going to get like unexpected behavior later on. Alright, so this is the first part. We have our neat looking tree. I think I like it. And currently our camera's here. If you had done what I told you before, to go into edit and preferences, and then to emulate the numpad and 3-button mouse, when you press 0, it's going to bring you to where the camera is currently facing. But if you want to bring the camera to you, what you can do is you can go Control Option and 0, and then you get the option, you get the camera coming right where you are looking, and then you can press this camera option, or sorry, the view option. I don't want to, okay, but then you want to, on the view option, you can lock your camera to view. I have to look through the camera. Okay, and now when I move, the camera moves with me. So what I want to do now is sort of align it really well, and I'll select out, shift and pan, shift and 2 fingers to pan, and then at this point you could render it if you wanted, right? So if you just wanted to render it now, you would just go to render and render image, and it will give you this, but we haven't done the colors and the lighting yet, so it looks pretty dull right now, but you can see the resemblance of it now. So I'll end this video here so that it doesn't get too long, and in the next video I will start doing the lighting.